So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together. Paul Hutchinson.
How you doing, guys? You alright? First time I've done this, so bear with me. First of all, who knows me or knows of my brand? Hands up.
I can't pronounce it, but know it.
There's a few, so I've still got a bit of work to do. One of the big things I'm going to talk about later on, do some question and answers at the end. But I'm going to start off by showing you my promo video from my brand, Mikasa S2 Casa. Jordan is from the House Group, which is a group that have basically managed me, and they now help with my bookings, and they book flights and stuff, the European gigs, and also like any filming or anything like that for gigs. They've actually made these promo videos for me, so if anybody is interested in using them, check them out. They're called the House Group. If anybody wants to talk to them afterwards, really good guys. Okay, so I'm going to start by showing you this promo video for the brand, and then I'm going to talk about my kind of journey on getting there, so how I started back in the day. Anyway, this is the promo video for my brand.
Bienvenidos a nuestra fiesta, Mi Casa es Tu Casa.
Hey, and in English, we're here at the Flitch House for Mi Casa es Tu Casa! Hey guys, welcome to Great Dunmow. We're here at the Flitch House tonight for another Mi Casa es Tu Casa party. Got some great DJs joining me, my boy Darren Wright. Also we've got Matt Moore over from Portugal tonight, and myself. It's going to be a great night, always is here at the Flitch.
Hi, we're Em and Miz, and we're here at the Flitch House to see Mi Casa es Tu Casa.
Great music. Yep. The people come to have a good time, so they know what they're going to expect when they get here. Great music, great atmosphere, and just some really lovely people.
They're not just here to look good, they're not here to get drunk, they're here to come and have a good time, and that's what it's all about, and it's great that I can share it with so many people.
I love it. It's the nuts. It's the best night ever. It really is.
So, where did it all start? For me, I started in 1988, DJing at Palms Wine Bar in Colchester, for those of you who remember it, just round the corner from here. An incredible place, and at the time I was managing a snooker club called Cars, which is just kind of near St Bolts, and I used to DJ just messing about, probably only had about 10 pieces of vinyl, and it was literally, I just used to play them in so many different orders, just kind of getting the hang of mixing. And Adnan Adimoglu, who owns Palms, kind of saw me in there one night and said, would you like to come and DJ in my bar? And at the time, there was no DJs in any bars in Colchester. It just wasn't happening. So we did it and we tried it, and we absolutely smashed it. I mean, it was the busiest bar in Colchester for 3 years solid. From Thursday to Sunday, I played every single night, and it was rammed from front to back. An incredible night. launched some great DJs there as well. For those of you that know Conan Liquid, he DJ'd there, along with Mick B as well. Some great DJs kind of cut their teeth there, and it was just an incredible place to play. I remember we used to, Adnan used to give me £50 a week to go and buy new records, so I'd get the train up to London and go to Black Market Records, and it was just that buzz of, you know, standing in the shop with all these incredible DJs around you, and you kind of point at a few that you want to listen to, and you know, that's one of the things I miss nowadays, that you can't, you know, physically go into a record shop and kind of get that feeling that you do, although it's totally different now, it's a lot quicker. But yeah, these were my favourite places: Black Market, Uptown Records, and then obviously in Colchester as well, there was Andy's Records, Our Price. I actually worked for Our Price for 10 years as well, and you go in and you get the deals for like $1.99 and stuff. It was an incredible time. But yeah, Palms Wine Bar was a really important launch pad for me. It's where I learned to DJ. I never had my own equipment at home, so the only time I actually got to play was when I was DJing. Then in 1992, I moved to New Zealand, emigrated out there for 9 months. Lived in Wellington, again lived an incredible 9 months out there. I was DJing every single weekend with this guy on the screen, Steve Hill. He owns a company called Massive, which is a massive trance brand over in Australia. I had the pleasure of DJing with him every weekend. When I was there in 92, they were pretty much 10 years behind the UK, so I was going with real fresh music that they'd never heard. At that time it was things like CC Peniston, Finally, U2, Even Better Than The Real Thing, you know, dropping the remixes of that, and people were absolutely loving it, so it was an incredible time out there. All on vinyl again, it wasn't CD still then. This girl I was seeing at the time actually flew over to New Zealand to see me and asked me to marry her and come back to the UK. So that was why I came back to the UK after, you know, such an incredible time in New Zealand. Unfortunately it didn't work out. Ended up getting divorced after about 2 years, I think, but that's the way things go. But I remember she was quite supportive of me DJing, and she was supportive of everything I was doing. Then got into another relationship with someone else that wasn't so supportive about my DJing, because you know, it can be quite tough for the partner, especially with the kind of hype that goes around being a DJ, and you know, the fact that you're getting hit on all the time. Never happened to me for some reason, but it does happen. So yeah, this was kind of one of the things that I mentioned in my, later on I'll go on to mention my DJ course, but the importance of having someone behind you, your partner, that supports you is really important. So then 2010, so I had a son as well around 2002. He's now 16 years old. So when he was born, my kind of DJing took a back step. Like I said, the girl I was with totally didn't like me DJing at all. And having a new son, obviously there's new things to think about. It wasn't until 2010 that I really got back into DJing. And it was, I came to Colchester for the day. I was living in Braintree at the time, and there was a sign I saw outside the Hippodrome for a competition called King of the Decks, run by Pioneer DJ. And for some reason, just something in my head just said, ring that number and go for it. So I applied for the competition, got in there, got through the first couple of rounds. It was quite simple. All you had to do was kind of do a little bit of microphone work and some mixing and stuff, and kind of get the crowd going. I think I had 20 minutes to impress the crowd, and did really well. Got through to the final the following week, and the final was up against DJ Nitro. Those of you who know him, yeah, Just Techniques, yeah. And again, I won the final that night as well, and won my first ever trophy that I won. It really gave me the confidence to kind of start DJing again. It gave me that buzz. Then I went on to the actual regional final, or the national final, whatever it is you call it, in Leicester. And I was so confident going into it. I remember setting up again, it was on vinyl. I had half an hour to play, and halfway during my set, the next DJ came along, started setting up while I was playing. and he was kind of distracting me. I remember him being on my left, and he put his bag on the fucking deck and stopped the deck, and I couldn't believe it. At the time, I was like just gobsmacked, and it totally threw me, and I lost my trial, and I ended up coming second. So I didn't actually win the whole thing, but just doing that competition kind of gave me that confidence. I got a bit in the local paper, the Colchester Gazette, and luckily Dale's mother-in-law, Dale Wright's mother-in-law, saw me in the paper and said, "Oh, you should hook up with this guy. Maybe you should do something together." And we didn't really do anything after that, did we? We were given a gig at Silk Road, or I was, by a friend of ours, and the guy who booked me said, "Oh, there's another guy playing as well called Dale Wright. Wondered if you guys fancy going back to back." And he introduced me to Dale. We literally just said hello to each other and said, "Yeah, we'll do it. Wherever we'll play." We played that night, and we had such a good time. I tell you, we absolutely smashed it. The crowd were going brilliant. Dale was doing his usual thing where he drops like incredible tracks that just blow me away. Remember, he dropped "Enjoy Anthem," and the place just went mental. And from that night, we kind of said that we'd start playing together. So we talked on the phone every single day for months, talking about how we were going to do it, what we were going to do, knowing that we had to come up with a name. Came up with loads of weird names. Ended up going with Slaves to House. At the time, everybody was pronouncing it wrong. Literally everybody. People calling us Slavy House, Slavs, E-House. It was like, I don't know. But anyway, we kind of did talk about changing it, but we kept it. The Slave to House was born, and we went on to do some incredible things. Yeah, we went on to play, we were playing regularly in Madrid once a month, a place called Club Joy. It's 2,500 people. We were flying out there, literally getting the midnight flight out. We'd go for dinner with the promoter, and we'd play from 2 till 4 in the morning, and then we'd fly back that same night, the same morning, whatever, like after our set, absolutely hammered on the plane home, getting home about 7 o'clock in the morning, but we did that every month. Played at Pasha in London, played the main room there. So we had some incredible gigs. We did our own night at Es Paradis as well. That was actually the first time I'd ever been to Ibiza. And it was so special for me, that trip. Apart from going to such a magical place for the first time, Dale kind of initiated me with a few little things. I won't go into too much because my wife's sitting here. Maybe I'll tell you in another day. Yeah, but we also sat down. I remember sitting down on, for those of you that know Ibiza, there's a place called Port d'Estaing. I remember sitting on this beach and we had this chat. We'd been drinking kind of most of the day, and we were just talking about life. And I remember talking about how my life was back in the day. Just before I went to New Zealand, I was kind of caught up in drugs. Nothing too bad, but I was kind of smoking a lot, and I wasn't in a good way. And I remember saying to Dale that day on the beach that I never ever wanted to go back to how my life was then. And I really wanted to, this is now really what I wanted to do. And something happened that day. Like, I remember I was crying my eyes out. Dale was crying. We were both like hugging each other, crying on this beach.
Yeah,
and it was kind of.
Is this where the initiation bit?
That was our thing.
And I always say this was the day, or this was the moment we fell in love, and it was the moment that really kick-started my DJ career, and this is the thing that gave me the strength to go on. So after all the parties and stuff, we then started our own label, Slave to House Digital. Started getting into production, so we had a studio in Dale's mother-in-law's house, or attached to the house. First track we did was signed straight away to DJ International Records in Chicago, which was an incredible feat. We also then went on to do a remix for Curtis McLean and Marshall Jefferson. We did a remix of Move Your Body, which to this day has probably been my biggest track. I think we got to number 16 at the time on Traxsource. And around that time as well, 2013, I got invited to go and play in Miami Unfortunately, Dale couldn't come, so I kind of went off on my own and played. Did some bits out there at the Winter Music Conference. And I played for loads of guys from Chicago as well. I remember me being the only white guy there. The whole room was just full of the really cool black guys from Chicago, and I felt so street walking in there. And kind of, there was only a few of them that knew me, and they were kind of come up to me and give me loads of hugs, and everyone else would just kind of look at me and just not quite sure what to do. So it came to my turn to play, and I started off with our remix of Move Your Body, and straight away, as soon as they heard that piano, there was just so much love in the room. And when I finished my set, they were like, everybody loved kind of what I did. So it was a really proud moment for me. An incredible place to play in Miami. Well, then my life really started to change. 2016, I took part in definitely my biggest challenge to date, which was a 100-kilometre walk. At the time, I was working at Stansted Airport, and we were challenged to beat our previous year's sales with this one water that we sold. And all the proceeds of the water went to this charity in Africa. And whoever beat their previous year's sales got to actually go to Africa and represent and do some work with the charity. And I actually won this competition and ended up going to Malawi for one water. Did some incredible work out there, looking after the pumps for all these villages that don't have access to clean drinking water. And it really opened my eyes to what an incredible world we live in and how lucky we are. And when I came back, I felt like a different person. I started reading more self-help books and thinking about other ways that I could help people. So I started reading loads of self-help books and stuff. These are some of the pictures from the walk. And on my DJ course that I'll mention later on, one of the things I say to people that I want them to do is to do something that scares the living daylights out of you, something that's going to give you a real kick up the arse, because that was the biggest challenge I ever did. It took me 28 hours or something like that in total to complete the walk. But I remember feeling unstoppable after that. And that was the thing that gave me that extra drive to really push my DJ career on. And since I've been back, I've been non-stop working on it. And I kind of feel that sometimes now I'm slipping back a little bit because there's so much going on. I almost lose focus, find myself procrastinating quite a lot. So I've enrolled in another 100k walk this year to really kick myself up the arse again. And my wife's taking part in that walk with me as well, so that's going to be really good. At the time as well, I started reading loads of books. This was one in particular called The Miracle Morning, which I definitely recommend you looking at. It talks about these 6 key points in life, talking about silence, where you find time to meditate and stuff like that in the mornings to really help clear your mind. Using affirmations, positive sayings and things like this to give you the confidence that you need. Visualization, visualizing yourself playing at the places that you want to play. My big goal is to play for Glitterbox, which is the biggest brand in the world at the moment. And I know I'm going to do it one day. I've already been kind of planting the seeds already. A lot of work I did last year in Ibiza around Glitterbox. I talk a lot to Simon Dunmore and send him a lot of emails. But it's the only way to do it. You need to keep pestering these people to get it out there, but it will happen. So that's my visualization. Exercise, Terry was talking about this earlier, the importance of making sure that you look after yourself, that you find time to actually exercise, lose the beer belly. Reading as well, making sure that you're filling your mind with positive thoughts, reading positive books, and scribing as well, making sure that you write down all the things that you need to be doing. It's a real big one for me, that. So around that time as well, in 2016, that was when my DJ gigs started drying up for some reason. I wasn't getting booked. So I said to myself, fuck it, I'm going to start my own brand and book myself. And that's where I came up with the name Mikasa Sukasa. The white logo on the left is the original logo, it's since been updated. And I started doing parties in, it started off in Great Dunmow around there, and straight away it went off, particularly at the Flitch House in Great Dunmow, where I have my regular party now. I've also got a regular party also in Chelmsford every Saturday with Dave Valentine, for those of you who know him from back in the day. Managed to get him out of retirement. And it was through him watching my progress on Facebook that he started DJing again. And that was a massive, it made me feel incredible, because for me he was one of the DJs that I looked up to back in the day. And to see him kind of say, you know, you're the reason that I want to start DJing again was incredible. So I'm so pleased to have him. We're going to have an incredible party. He's going to be playing with me every month. Yeah, so we started at the Flitch House. Brandon Block came and played for me a few times. He's now a really close friend of mine. We've also had some incredible people. Graham Sahara, for those of you that know, he's a Pasha resident in Ibiza. Alex Madden, a good friend of mine from Los Angeles. Nico Reniers is another resident from Ibiza who's great. Daryl's played for me loads of times. We've got a party coming up in Ibiza this July, July 22nd, if any of you fancy coming out. And yeah, the next party is the 24th of May. We've got Danny Clockwork coming to play from Clockwork Orange, who's also a really good friend of mine. And again, with the kind of new mentality that I've found in pushing myself constantly, I managed to get involved with Clockwork Orange. So they've got a massive party coming up in Chelmsford called Clockstock. And after working with Danny at S Paradis last summer in Ibiza, I phoned him up and I said to him, look, I think you need somebody who's going to look after these DJs, because there's the biggest DJs in the world playing. Eric Murillo, Roger Sanchez, you know, they're all there. And I talked him into taking me on to look after all these DJs. So I'm now artist liaison manager for Clockstock. So proud, and it gives Danny a chance to be able to do what he does best, which is look after all of these, you know, Orange Army that follow him everywhere. And it also makes sure that these DJs get looked after properly. My job is to basically meet and greet and make sure they get on the stage on time, and, you know, make sure they have a good time while they're there. So it's going to be an incredible time. So that's Mikasa, yeah, so it's just gone from strength to strength. Like I say, I've been pushing it like mad, managing to get parties in Italy as well. This is my other vision, is for next year to be have a successful party in Ibiza. And the way I did that is to look at the big picture and work backwards. So my big picture is Ibiza, but when you look at who goes to Ibiza, there's loads of Italians, loads of Scousers, loads of Mancunians. So this year is all about building my brand in the UK. I've also got parties sorted out in Liverpool and Manchester as well to clear those. The Italians, I've got a good friend of mine called Christian Valera. He came and played for me a little while ago at my party, and I've been out to Verona twice to play for him. We've got 2 more gigs coming up, and then next year in Italy we've got a residency at MAD in Italy and Verona from the Casa Party. So that's the way I'm kind of getting the Italian market. That way, by next year, when I hit Ibiza again, so many more people will know about the brand. When I was out there last year, I started off with my party at Plastic, and there was a few reasons why it didn't work. One was it's quite commercial in there, so the guy that owned it was kind of asking me to change the music sometimes, because Mikasa is all about house music, soulful house, and kind of glitterbox style disco house. And sometimes it wasn't quite right in there, so he kept asking me to kind of change the music, and that wasn't what I wanted to do at all. So we moved the party, and at the time I was operations manager at S Paradis, so I moved the party to S Paradis, and for the whole of last summer I had a weekly party there, which is incredible. Averaged about 500 people at each party. For me to see my name and my brand outside that club was incredible. I mean, it probably hasn't got the same pull that it had back in the day, but it's still an iconic super club in Ibiza, and it was so cool to play there. The other thing that led up to going to Ibiza was when I got married. Karen, my wife over there, we got married in 2017. And one of the incredible things about her is how supportive she is in my career. And the fact that I told her about my story in 2013 when I moved to Ibiza and things kind of didn't go right. I went out there with the wrong mindset, thinking that people were going to give me gigs because of who I was. It doesn't work like that. You have to put in the hard work. You have to do a lot of networking. Me and Darryl spent probably 6 years networking to get some of the gigs that I got out there. But I did expect people to come to me, and it doesn't work like that. So I ended up coming back to the UK, and I remember Karen saying, you know, you can come and stay with me until you find somewhere else to live. And I never did move out. Then we got married. So when I told her in 2017 that I wanted to go out and kind of give it another go, she was 100% behind me. So we both jacked our jobs in. They both of our companies gave us the time off, 7 months off, to actually go to Ibiza and try and follow my dream. And like I said, you know, we worked our asses off. Operations manager at S Paradis. I was resident DJ at Ibiza Rocks Bar, resident DJ at Talk, played loads of other places as well. And I did it the right way, and I just learned so much from that, from last summer in Ibiza. So my course talks about all the different parts of, it talks about DJing as well, obviously. I talk about how to mix and all of that. It's an online course on Facebook. It's all video based, videos that I spent 2 weeks recording. But yeah, it talks about what equipment to buy, the basics of mixing, how to manage your music online. This was actually one of the biggest comments I get. I don't know if you can see on the screen there. Who used mixed in key here? Anybody? Yeah, quite a few people. Okay. So every single track that I buy, and I do buy all my music, I get sent some promos, but probably only about 6 or 7 that I actually like. The rest I buy. I find my music on Tracksource and then buy it on iTunes because it's slightly cheaper. If it's not on iTunes, then I do buy it on Tracksource. I think it's really important that you do give the money back to the artists because they put in a lot of work. So I make sure that all my tracks are put through mixed in key. I then delete all of the artwork on the track and actually change the artwork to the mixed in key number. I just find this helps me when I'm mixing, when I'm trying to find a track when I'm DJing. It's just a lot quicker. And then also this year as well, I started doing a podcast. Go back to some of these screens here. I've had some incredible people on there so far. Paul Reynolds, I did an interview with Paul Reynolds from Melon Bomb in Ibiza. Katie Goodman, an incredible female DJ, who's the new Glitterbox resident DJ. One of my mentors, Sam Devine, sings her praises as well. Sam, for me, Sam Devine is one of the best DJs, and she's gone about her career the right way. You know, she started off playing in clubs in the West End and kind of built her, or in bars in the West End, and built her brand up that way. And now she's doing incredible. She is the queen of Defected Records. Simon Dunwell took her under her wing, rightly so. He spotted that talent, and he's also spotted the talent in Katie. She did a great interview with me for my podcast. Good friend of mine, Ibiza, that I'm playing with in Amsterdam in a couple of weeks. Actually, I have my wife on there as well. That episode went to #1 on Problematic. So yeah, the podcast did Moose T as well, interviewed him in Liverpool. But yeah, so I talk about my clients, the importance of having a podcast out there. This is the biggest thing at the moment this year. Podcasts are absolutely huge. If you go onto iTunes, you see all of the big players are there, Defected, everybody. It's such a big thing, and it's a new way of getting yourself out there. They're really easy to listen to as well. You can do it while you're driving or whatever. And then I talk about all the importance of different social media sites. So this is the biggest part of it. So one thing I offer to clients is that they send me their socials and I have a look and tell you what I think you could be doing better or what you're doing really well. There might be an area that you're really focusing on. For me, the two big ones are Facebook and Instagram. Absolutely huge. Facebook is kind of slowly starting to take a little bit of a dip, and Instagram is taking over. Instagram is almost like the new Facebook, or what Facebook wants to be, and it's a really important one. As a DJ, you need to be on Facebook, 100%. You need to also have a group page. Groups are absolutely massive, and they're going to get even bigger this year. Mark Zuckerberg just did the F8 talk, talking about all of the different areas that they're going to be focusing on, and groups is a big one because they want to bring back that community feel to Facebook, because they feel that it's kind of gotten out of the way a bit. But yeah, for me, Facebook is huge, and Instagram is going to slowly start overtaking it, I think. So you need to be on Instagram as well, in my opinion, if you're a DJ. I then talk about all the different things that I use to create all of my artwork. Everything I do myself. Obviously I have the help now of the house group with making videos and stuff, but a lot of the artwork for my brand I do myself, using things like Canva is fantastic. Fused is a really good one for if you want your picture with your logo in the corner. It's a really good app. InShot is great for making short little promo videos. iMovie is great as well. We're recording this tonight. Then we're going to put it on YouTube, but then I'm also going to cut up clips of this to use on social media as well. And Storylux is a new one mainly for Instagram. This is a great one for Instagram stories. That's another huge one that you do need to be really focusing on if you want to get yourself out there. The beautiful thing about stories is you can link them back to Facebook as well at the moment. I won't go into too much detail on this, but to give you an idea of the stuff that I do on a weekly and a daily basis now, I really think it's important that you have a clear focus of what you're going to do every day. I have a daytime job as well. I manage a restaurant in Great Dunmow, and I work 12 till 6. So I make sure I get up every single morning at 6:30, and I work non-stop until 11 o'clock in the morning when I leave for work. I also use the time to work to give to my clients, that they can call me up and they can ask me anything they want. It's all free, I don't charge for any of that. And then I work 12 till 6, then I come home and spend usually from 7 until 10 online as well, updating social media or chasing up people on Instagram. For me to get the growth on Instagram, you need to be on there all the time. So I spend at least 2 hours a night. Thank God my wife is understanding, like I said as well, she has an online business also, so she understands the importance of spending so much time on social media. I also do a review every single week of what I've achieved that week, what worked well, what didn't work well. Then every Saturday I review all of my social media figures to see where my growth is or what I need to work on. And then on Sundays I plan the following week, so I know exactly what I'm going to be doing. And just making sure that you write down your goals as well. Don't just say that I want loads of bookings. You need to think about how you're going to get those bookings. How I work is look at the big picture and then work back. So if you want to get 100 bookings, you need to work out how many people you need to contact to get that. If anybody is interested in the course, it is a Facebook private group. It's £8 a month to join. There's so much in there. There's 30 different people in there at the moment, and I've not heard one bit of negative feedback from any of them. They're all getting something out of it. And like I say, it's got that personal touch where you can communicate with me and contact me anytime. But yeah, it's just a little thing I'm launching. There's going to be a book as well, because we all know that everybody learns differently. Some people are good at reading, some people are good at watching videos and taking it down. So the course is called A DJ's Guide to Success, and that's it. Thank you for your time today.
Thanks, Paul. Yeah, it's his first keynote speech. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. Any questions for Paul? I love the fact that he spent all last summer in Ibiza. Now, if I was a few years younger, that would be my dream as well. But I don't know,
It was incredible, yeah.
What sort of subjects do you cover on your course?
A lot of it is around social media, about pointing out what it takes nowadays to get noticed, and just which tools you can use to actually promote yourself. Making sure that you're on SoundCloud. I say that you need to be omnipresent, which means you need to be on everything. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, SoundCloud, Mixcloud, Resident Advisor. You know, you need to be on every single platform out there.
Does that not only work when you're like a producer though, because anything you put up for most of the people in it is going to be copyright stuff, and then just take it down, don't they?
Yeah, but there's ways around it. For Mixcloud and SoundCloud, I remember if you put 30 seconds of like some sort of an intro at the beginning with you speaking over it or something, introducing the mix, that's a way around it. There's also another, it's quite long-winded, but there's about a 50-word paragraph that you can paste into the mix or in the comments bit about copyright, which says that it's basically nothing to do with you. Right. That's another way around it that has worked for some people.
Mixcloud is PRS compliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you can use Mixcloud? Yeah,
Mixcloud is the other way around it. So, like I said, if you're on all of them, there's got to be things you can do. You know. Yeah. Obviously, some of them are just for producers, but you know, things like Resident Advisor, you know, you definitely need to be on there. You need to be putting any gigs you have, put them all on there. All of mine are listed on there. You know, whether I'm in Italy or England or Ibiza, they're all on there. It's just about using social media to your advantage to get all of these gigs. There's so many different ways now to get noticed. It's important to use.
On the wedding side, Michael Walter, who we saw up at Prime Mobile, Terry, I'm sure we know, from America, big operation you've got in America. And he recently he put out a mix actually. It's a lounge mix where it wasn't about the house sound, but a bit of a rocky feel. And he put that out on Facebook, and masses of people were hitting. Finding it, so even if you're doing like a wedding mix, if you like, which isn't necessarily as housey or whatever.
And we were saying about the USP earlier on, what Terry was, and that's my thing, is that people book me for that kind of Ibiza experience at their wedding, so they know that I play house, but they also know that I play disco and stuff, so they kind of get a little bit of everything, but it's always important to sit down with the client anyway and ask exactly what they want. That is the night that I play whatever they ask me to play. But you know, most of the time they trust me to say, look, we want you to play a little bit of this, but then can you do like 2 hours of Ibiza stuff? So yeah. Any other questions? No, thank you guys. Enjoy the rest of your night. No, thank you guys. Enjoy the rest of your night.